You just tell me when. We'll go anytime. I'm ready.
Hello, everybody. It's Jim Feist in Las Vegas, and I'm joined today by Chip Chirimbus. Chip, we have done one or two podcasts, I think, already, and lots going on. The Supreme Court outlawed the ban on sports gambling, and everybody is just going crazy, and this is the best thing since sliced bread. But I got some reservations, and those reservations are starting to come to pass in the last 24 hours. But I'm going to ask you first what your reaction is, and then I want to throw this stuff at you.
All right. My first thought is that everyone's overreacting, and they think now that people are going to be able to bet legally, that everyone is just going to run down and start gambling. I don't quite see it. I mean, how they set it up logistically, are they going to do it through the phones like they do in Las Vegas, Jim? Or are you going to have to go to one of the casinos to make a bet?
I think it's going to be gradual. It's going to take a long time to implement. But then we're going to have to, first of all, we have to get over the roadblocks. You got the 1% integrity fee that some states are asking for. You got a 12% tax that other states are asking for. You got the NFL that is looking for the piece of the action. And then we find out, at least I found out this morning, that college sports is not included. Now, it's a harder sell that way. However, a lot of people like to bet pro sports only, and that will help. But there's only one place I think that's ready to go right away within the next couple of weeks, and that'd be New Jersey, because they got Monmouth Park already to do it. There's a couple other states that probably within a few months that can do some things, but they haven't gotten over the political things, the NFL issue. There's a lot of hoops to jump through yet. So I don't see it as something that's going to be all that much different than what we have now. And I think what's going to happen, in my opinion anyway, the states are going to do, they're going to do it the way they do it. Whether they tax it 5%, 1%, 12%, whatever they do. It's going to have an effect. One effect will be it's going to bring people out of the woodwork that don't generally bet. That might be, say, okay, it's legal now, so I'll go do it. That's a $25 to $50 better maybe. But you're not going to get the big players anywhere near this with all the taxes and everything to go along with it. And they're probably not going to do any phone betting for a while. It's probably going to have to be in person, driver's license, lots of IDs, stuff like that. So a lot of people that are bigger players, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, they're not going to drive to a casino or a racetrack or somewhere else to do that. They just have offshore accounts or their local bookie, and they're going to continue going in that direction for a while. It's going to take a while for the states and the federal government to sort this all out. And that's just my opinion from the top. Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me? I'm here.
Okay, yeah.
One of the first things that bothered me, Jim, was the idea that they announced a 1% integrity fee. So are you telling me that the league hasn't been playing straight up previously to this? Now you have integrity? I don't get it, and I think that the idea that they want kickbacks on it is outrageous because they don't make the line. They don't create the line. So if the NBA or if the leagues want to create their own point spread, now we're having an integrity issue. Absolutely. But they're not making the point spread, so why should there be an integrity fee? I don't get that part.
I don't understand what the word integrity actually means. I mean, it's where did they come up with that name in the first place? I agree with you. Hasn't there been integrity from the beginning? Isn't there integrity every day, or now we're going to have integrity? I don't get that.
And the idea that they're going to get, if they're looking for a tax or, like I said, a percentage fee of it, why would the player go and play with in their system when we can play without an integrity tax if we go through offshore, an illegal bookmaker, or say even legally in Nevada with our, unless they start taxing those guys. But Jim, don't most people have outlets that are not legal right now, and if all of a sudden they're not going to get, full percentage on their dollar, why would they move? I mean, why buy a quart of milk for $5 when you get it for $4? So I don't know if it's going to be as big a thing as people think.
I agree with you 100%. I think what it's going to do, it will bring out some players that are not players.
Yes, yes.
And it might grow the market, the player market over time will grow as a result of this quote-unquote, it's now legal. But then once everybody realizes it doesn't matter if it's legal or not, and you'll start to see some people, they'll gravitate to where they can play at the best prices and the most convenient.
Yeah.
So I don't see it as a big thing. Personally, in a way, I hope I'm wrong. I would like to see it just go full bore across the country. It'd be great for business, but I don't see it happening. I think once the government gets involved in something, it usually gets messed up, and they only make the right decision when it's the only decision that's left to make. So I've lived by that pretty much, and I'm usually right. So
I think you're right more than they are.
So, and the sports world, I happen to know that you've been absolutely knocking out of the box in baseball lately.
Yeah, we're having a pretty good run, Jim. I pride myself on the single strongest play of the day, and my guarantees have gone 18-5 now the last 3 weeks. One play a day, and that's nice for this time of the year. But golly gee, Jim, I thought Houston would show up last night in the basketball game against Golden State, and boy was I wrong. And
well, from
the NBA's are getting
from a standpoint of, I had Golden State and I had the under, tied the under, but a lot of people would have lost that because the line came down. But the one thing I noticed about, there's two teams that seem to play a good team basketball. And when I talk about that, you and I grew up playing sports. I mean, you were much more of an elite athlete compared to what I was, but you know sports very well. Most of the NBA right now is just line your players up outside the three-point circle, and the first guy that gets the ball in his hand that hasn't opened, he takes the shot. And if you notice that Houston ranks about 30th or 31st in the league in number of passes before they shoot. That is a disgusting, I remember when I played basketball, the coach said if there wasn't 4 passes, we were not shooting. You had to pass the ball 4 times. They don't pass the ball at all. They bring the ball up, one guy holds it, dribbles around, they run a pick for him, he gets off, he shoots the 3-point shot. Then somebody goes and tries to get a rebound. That's not basketball. The way Golden State plays basketball is the way, and Boston and Golden State play basketball the way you should play, in my opinion.
I think the 3-point game has changed it so much. The 3-point shot has changed the game.
Okay, Chipper had a little delay there, but the last thing I said was Houston ranks about 31st in the league in number of passes before they shoot. And the only 2 teams that I see in the league that actually play a little bit of old-style basketball is in passing the ball a lot, finding the open guy, moving. They just don't come down and shoot the first shot they have. Not everybody does occasionally, but that would be Boston and the Warriors.
Yeah, I was going to say Boston, no question.
But you had some stats.
Yeah, like I said, excuse me, Jim.
What's that? You had some stats you were talking about when we got cut off there for a minute.
Well, what I was saying, I believe, was how the 3-point shot has so dramatically changed the game. In the very first NBA playoffs, when the first time that the Arc was put onto the court, the Boston Celtics played, and they had Larry Bird, and the entire game, now we consider Larry Bird a 3-point shooter, the entire game there are only 2 3-point shots attempted by both teams combined. Now you got 75 of them being hoisted up in the game.
Wow. I did not know that. That's amazing.
Yeah, only two the entire game. And Larry Bird took only one of them.
Yeah, Larry was an outside shooter, but an outside shooter doesn't mean you have to be 23 feet from the floor, from the basket. That's the different game now. But I said a couple of weeks ago, on one of my podcasts or several of the podcasts, that I thought the Warriors were going to win the West and win the championship again, barring any dramatic or significant injuries. And I stand by that. I don't see Houston as a team that can play win 4 games out of 7, or now 4 games out of 6 against this club. I just don't see that happening.
Before the series started, I did think that maybe this was a little different version of Houston. Maybe they were better. Maybe we were going to see, a better team, a better defensive team. But they don't. They don't guard anybody most of the time.
Well, you're right. They don't. And the other thing is the best, highest paced team, the team that does it the best, are the Warriors. If you're going to play that style against them, you're playing their game. You have to find a way to slow them down a little bit, make them play a little bit more half-court basketball, because they are better at running the ball than anybody. They got 5 guys on the floor that can move and pass and cut, and go to the hoop or shoot outside. That's a very dangerous combination if you're going to run with them. And we saw fatigue last night. I thought Paul looked tired, and I thought Harden looked tired. If you're going to go at that pace, you have to have more than a couple guys that are going to put up points.
When you remind me, when I think of the Warriors, they've been playing on 6 cylinders all year, and they're an 8-cylinder engine. Yeah. I mean, they've rested. Curry's been hurt. They rest this guy. They rest that guy. And it looks like they're all back together right now and ready to just rev it up.
That's a great analogy. I like that. I like that.
I come up with once in a while, Jim.
No, that was really good. Everybody says it in a different way, but that was the best way I heard it said. Chip, anything in baseball that you see that's going on? I mean, we've noticed some streaks here and there. The Yankees are going crazy, and Washington's starting to play better, and Atlanta's playing a little bit better. There's a lot of things going on out there.
Well, I think what they should do is change the length of the games. Let's make it a 7-inning game, not 6 innings. But this way, you can have your starter go 6 innings, and you can bring your closer in for the 7th inning. Because this is getting ridiculous, where pitchers are throwing 45 pitches and they take them out of the game. DeGrom, the other day, threw 45 pitches in the first inning, and he said he felt great, he was great, and they wouldn't even let him pitch the 2nd inning. I mean, that's 45 pitches for the day. And I think it is just overreacting to this pitch count, Jim. It drives me crazy. I spoke to you before about we're going to have to just start making 5-inning bets and not betting teams in 9 innings anymore.
Well, if you're gonna bet just the starting pitcher because the line is based on the starting pitcher, you damn well should be betting 5-inning bets, because you never know what you're going to get out of the bullpen. If you're going to you're going to lay a big number with a starting pitcher because he's top-notch guy. You don't know if you're going to see him in the 6th or 7th, and then you don't know what you're going to get.
And a prime example, Verlander was shutting down the Yankees in the game a week ago, whatever it was, and he had 15 strikeouts in 6 innings, and they took him out in the 7th, and the Yankees win 2-1. I don't understand it. I mean, Nolan Ryan went 376 innings one year, and the next year he came back and pitched 330 innings. And I'm not saying they have the body type to do that with Nolan, but even these slender guys threw great innings. Pedro Martinez threw innings. I think you're making the starting pitcher weaker the less you pitch him, and I think the more you pitch him, the stronger they get. So I have difficulties with it. It just frustrates me to no end.
Well, it's like, it's the pendulum always swings too far in one direction before it corrects back to the beginning, the middle. And
yeah,
and I think that's what's happening. And I think we see it in the NFL too, where everybody says, well, it's the quarterback league, you don't need running backs. Well, the problem is a quarterback is worthless unless you can give him a decent running game and some blockers up front to give him a couple seconds to throw the ball. So you can't put it on, everything swings too far. and then they make adjustments. You're going to see more running backs getting drafted. You saw that already, and you're going to start seeing more offensive line building because you can't protect these damn quarterbacks. You're paying them $30 million, and they're on their back all the time, and then they're in the hospital. So it makes no sense to me.
I think you're 100% right, Jim. Because look at Dallas. Dallas is struggling. They got Elliott, a running back. The Rams are struggling. They got a running back. All of a sudden, these teams are contenders. And if you have a solid running game, it aids the passing game. It just enhances it. So I agree with you. I think you need a solid runner, and you need to hold on to the ball.
The question I have, Chip, I agree with you, but why we're not football people? We're gambling people. Why do we know this and the football experts that are running these teams don't?
Oh, because they're just they're too smart for us. You know? It's like the eggheads in the NCAA. Those guys make the worst decisions I've ever heard. You know what I mean? They don't have common sense.
They're from another planet. Those guys.
I can't believe some of the rulings they come down with. They're just absurd.
It's going to be, we started the show off talking about the gambling bill and the ban being lifted and everything. This is, excuse my French, before this is all said and done, with all the battles, the political battles, and the teams looking for their piece, and the states looking for their piece, and all the stuff that goes on, this is going to be a monumental shit show, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's, I'm wondering what's going to happen. I really do.
5 years, it'll take 5 years to clean it up, but there'll be gradual improvements and gradual steps made. But it's not going to be an overnight success. It can't be. Too many pieces out there. Already, one day, not even one day, we already have no college betting, 12% tax, 1% integrity fee. That's just one day. So it's really interesting being in this business and watching it go on, but sometimes it gets a little frustrating. Well, a lot of times it gets pretty frustrating. So anyway, Chip, you got a lot going on. I know you got basketball plays, you got not football, but horse racing with the Preakness coming up this week. That's going to be interesting. I see the first and second horse from the Kentucky Derby. They're both going to be running. That would be good magic.
Well, by the way, Jim, congratulations on the Derby winner. You were right there. I had asked you if you gave the winner, and that was a great call.
I appreciate that, but I have to give credit to Hank Goldberg, who's much better at picking horses than I am. I've got to give credit where credit's due. He's an expert. He does a great job, and his picks are his horses and stuff and sports are up on my site, so you can check those out. Chip, thank you for this. I'm always here if you want to do another podcast anytime, and I'll be in touch with anything coming up on my end. But thanks very much for today.
Thank you, Jim. It's always a pleasure to work with you, buddy.